Oops, wrong one. Okay, psychology students, we are on week 26, so there's a little bit less here because I'm hoping that you've been working on this motivations project and you're going to finish it. So it's a bit of a shorter week. You're going to post your presentation here on this discussion forum. Remember, when you make it, like you could do, like I'm doing right now, where you're just recording your desktop. But when you save it, make sure you save it either using a YouTube channel or a Google Drive or something, because you can't load a large video file to the forum. So just make sure that you're saving it in a way that you can use a cloud drive to save. We've done this before. And then we're going to move from where we were last week, which was on emotions, to looking at personality. All right, this is a lot of students' favorite area where we talk about personality. You're going to start by looking at the psychodynamic way that Freud kind of looked at personality formation. Many of you have probably heard about the id, the ego, and the superego. So this is kind of how he discussed different parts of the personality. The id being that very, you see the 2-year-old, I want it now. And we all have that part of us that stays for our whole life, where then the ego kind of develops and we can kind of quiet the id sometimes. And then even the superego comes along in development, hopefully, not everybody, but hopefully, where we start to look at, not just what I want now, not just how I'm going to feel good about myself in terms of my ego, but how my personality kind of works with others to produce greater good for everyone. And you're also going to look at the defense mechanisms. So this was what Freud kind of talked about in terms of how we protect our ego, in terms of ways of maybe we're not dealing with something the way we should, in a healthy way, but we form these protections. And when we do this discussion forum, I'm just going to bring this up, so the first person is going to answer the first 5 on this page. And then the next person who comes to it's going to look and check and say, oh yeah, I agree, I think you got those, and then list the next 5. And then the third person will come along and check the second 5 through 10, and then post, I think, let me see how many theirs are. I'm not quite sure if we're perfectly at 15. There's 3 of you. So the first person answers 5 in the discussion forum and says, this is what I think and why. Then the next person says, yes, I agree or disagree, and answers the second 5. The third person comes along, says, sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry about that. The second person comes along, answers these. Then the third person comes along and says, I think these are right or wrong and why, and then answers the next 5. So that's the defense mechanisms assignment. And you can see, because I hope you spend time watching each other's presentations, that I kept this week rather short. All right, and then next week we're going to keep working with personality. And I'll make a video next week. Have a great week. Keep sending me your questions and concerns.